Hi, I'm Dr. Safaya, email marketing strategist and educator, and I am committed to making email marketing simple and profitable for you. Through my online email marketing school, Sapphire Learning Hall, you can find the link in the show notes. Fun fact, I'm an obstetrician gynecologist resident in training. Yes, I'm an actual practicing medical doctor. Email marketing experiments was born out of the desire to share behind the scenes of failed and successful email marketing campaigns. Simply put, what we've tried, not just me, but me and every guest I bring on the show, what we've tried that has worked or didn't work. So instead of just thinking it and testing it, we're committed to also sharing the BTS with you on this podcast. Come join us behind the scenes. And one more thing, as you listen, if you're a freelancer, service provider, or business owner, go ahead and check the show notes for the gift I kept for you. You'll find it under the title Gift. Now let's go behind the scenes.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Email Marketing Experiment. Today we are going to be having a rather interesting topic. But before that, I have with me the founder and creative director of MKW Creative Co., a San Diego brand design and marketing studio. She helps entrepreneurs define their visual identity through strategy-driven branding, content creation, and social-first storytelling, which I find particularly interesting. She's also the host of the Kiss My Aesthetics podcast. And let me tell you, that podcast is totally amazing because I have gone through it, I have binged some videos, by the way. And so I'm
Great. Love
talking
to hear
about
that.
no other than Michelle Wintersteen, a
Pleasure.
fourth generation entrepreneur.
Yeah, there's lots of business in the family, I guess you could say. Yeah.
I was just counting it, I'm like fourth generation. So first, second, third. That's a lot of entrepreneurs right there.
And all women too.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. That's so good. Welcome. We're so happy to have you today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So let's start with, you have over a decade of experience, in business, that 11 years and counting. That's pretty impressive. Tell us a bit about your journey.
So I started my business as a junior in college at university, kind of between my junior and senior year. So I was 20 years old. I really liked art and aesthetics. And I always kind of had a natural knack for business. I loved making things. I loved selling things that I made. I loved themed parties. I loved going all out for like Christmas gifts and birthdays and holidays. And I didn't realize really that is something that people will pay for. So my very creative and very entrepreneurial family, my mother is an interior designer. My great grandmother was an interior designer. And so I've always kind of been around visual aesthetics, but my interest really lied in like creative problem solving. So how can I take somebody's problem and then make it look nice, right? Like make it solved and present it to an audience in a way that communicates that message. So I kind of fell into graphic design. I got an on-campus job that was making like posters for the homecoming concert and for clubs and orgs on campus. And I'd been showing my parents some of my work and they said, you could charge people like good money for that. And I was like, what? And so at the time, my other job was babysitting. And I said, well, what do I charge? They go, well, charge more than you would babysitting. And at babysitting, I was making $12 an hour as a nanny. And so I decided I was going to do graphic design for $15 an hour. And I thought I was like making out like a bandit because my biggest insecurity at that time is like, well, no one's going to hire me because I'm too young and I don't have experience. And what I learned is that like talent and perseverance and just like commitment to the cause, like just jumping in with both feet has served me really well over the time because everything that you want to learn now exists on the internet for free. So if I didn't know how to do something, I could YouTube it. I could Google it. I could go on social media and follow designers that I liked. And then I was just practicing. So that was 2014. When I graduated, my parents were like, try to take it full time. And if it sucks, like go get a real job. And then I never went and got another job. So I've just been doing it ever since. So obviously I've charged a lot more than $15 an hour now, but really doubled down on branding, started growing my company, was a digital nomad for a few years. So I like lived in countries all over the world and was able to build my client base globally, which was really amazing. And then in January 2020, when the world shut down, a few months later, in January, I decided, oh, I really need a lot of help. Like I've got to bring some team members on here because I have more work than I can do by myself. And I was starting to get burnt out. And so I was like, okay, 2020, I'm going to focus on building my team. And then, yeah, the whole world was starting online businesses. So it was a huge year for us. Since then, we've evolved to just bigger packages and bigger clients and working with clients not only on the branding, but their ongoing creative direction and their brand presence really in the world and how they show up from print to digital to merchandise to social. And I think my team and I just had our kind of year-end wrap-up meeting, and we really believe in the Bragworthy brand, but we believe in helping businesses that help people. So helping businesses that help communities. So that's what we think Bragworthy is. It's really about word of mouth. It's really about building the kind of company that people want to talk about organically, that they're not paying influencers to talk about, that they don't, it's just the kind of brand that you're so excited to have and to share with people. So those are the kind of companies that we like to work with best.
I think I really love the fact that there was like the whole family support, they're like, try it. If it doesn't work, you can go find a real job. And, you started and you never went back. Talk about, when you say 4 generations, it's showing right there. I'm just wondering, like, if they had never said try it, like, would you have started, that kind of thing? But I'm really glad that they did give you that push to be able to go. And look at all the amazing things you're doing right now.
I was going to say, I'll call out that comes with a lot of privilege, like having the opportunity to have a family and a support system that understands what that's like and to have them to fall back on when I have hard clients or when I have questions or when I don't know what to do. I don't want to negate that. I think it is a lot harder to work a career salary job and then make the jump to freelancing. So when people ask me like, oh, how did you get started? I feel that it really was ignorance on my side of like not knowing that it could be different. And also the encouragement of my family and my support system and like the communities that I put myself in and having the opportunity to go study something at university that my parents said, yeah, like study what you want to study. And I know that not everyone has that opportunity, especially for such an investment such as your education, but it gave me a lot of confidence to go in the direction of what I was curious about. And I think that helped me as a young person jump into this as a career because I never got comfortable with kind of the status quo of being employed by someone else. Like it was always like I had to go out and make my own money. And that's always been my attitude. So I just want to acknowledge that there's a lot of privilege in that as well. And I got a really great head start. Like I got a lot of help from my friends and family. And that is to be included in the story also.
That's great. That's great. Now you've been running your business 11 years and you've been doing your podcast like almost half that time, 5 years and counting, right? And you have a unique way of using your podcast. I know we talked about it. When I went back, I was thinking like, oh, how can I do something similar? So how has your podcast impacted your business, right? I would just like you to share a bit about how you use your podcast in your business.
Yeah. So the first and foremost thing is the podcast is not the revenue generator. The podcast is a marketing channel for us. So a lot of people, I think, set out to make podcasts to make money, which is an absolutely worthy endeavor. But for me, I have a business that makes money. I needed the podcast to go talk to people for an hour where it was mutually beneficial. Like it's kind of a faux pas now to ask someone, oh, can I take you to coffee and pick your brain? Right? Because it's seen as like, okay, this doesn't benefit me, the person sharing the advice. This doesn't benefit me at all. But all of a sudden, when you say, hey, can I interview you on my podcast? There's this kind of like mutual symbiotic benefit of being able to share the information that you gathered from that person with an audience, and then they can share their thought leadership with their audience. So it was really meant as kind of a hack for me to network. And it started as an Instagram live interview show. And I would call it Design Live. And I was only talking to designers because I wanted to talk to effectively colleagues because I had none. Like I didn't have coworkers. So I wanted to ask people like, where do you get inspired? What tools have you excited? What's a project that you've had to work through recently? Like, what's interesting to you? And I just used it again as kind of a networking tool. And then a friend of mine from my travel said, this really should be a podcast because once the Instagram live is over, it's like gone forever. And if you're going to put all this time into it, you might as well just publish it as a podcast. I was like, that's a good idea. So we've been doing it since then. So that would have been 2021, July 2021. And the podcast is great. I think it's gotten me so much more consistent with how I communicate my thoughts. I've become a more confident public speaker. I can kind of point to different topics and mishmash all my worlds together. I get to talk to really interesting people, and I use it as a way to recap client projects when they finish. So once we finish working with a client, I bring them on the podcast as a case study and say, okay, tell everyone what it was like working with us. And those episodes are some of my favorite. It's an hour-long testimonial for our services. Like, it really is. And so it just makes for such an easy piece of media to share with a potential new client. Because if I'm talking to someone and they say, oh, I want to open a boutique, I said, great, go listen to the episode with Lily Par, which is a golf apparel company that just opened in La Jolla. We did all of our branding. Here's how we've supported here. Here's how her business has grown since knowing us. And it just becomes this very intimate because it's in your ears. You can do it while you're multitasking. It's the best referral marketing ever.
Wow, wow, love it, love it. I mean, that's such a creative way to go about it. Now we're going to be going straight into today's topic. And for anybody who doesn't know yet, we are going to be talking about why Michelle is allergic to email marketing. What has your relationship with email marketing been?
Yeah, so I'm really peeling back the carpet here because as a marketer, one of the things I'm most insecure about with our marketing is email. And the reason is because I built my email list as a young person, 22, 23, 24, thinking that the way you build your list is you give away so many freebies. I was listening to Jenna Kutcher at the time. I was deep in the podcast. I was like, oh, I'll just keep making these freebies so I can grow my list, which I did, but then I never nurtured that list. So I ended up building an email list of about 3,000 people that I've just neglected. It's like I gathered all these people up and I put them in a stadium and then I decided to never get on the stage. I said, here, free tickets to the show. And I never gave them a show. So I've kind of been embarrassed about that because I know I could be doing more with it. And it's this thing of, it's kind of the cobbler's kid gets no shoes of, I'm a marketer. I really enjoy doing front-facing social media marketing, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. Like, I like being that person. For me, email is so unseen and unrecognized. Like, I could put all this effort into the email and it's not public. Like, it's in people's private email things. And for me, like, I get people's newsletters and I just select them and delete them. So I think projecting and transposing a lot of my email frustrations and how much spam that I get, thinking like, oh, people aren't going to be interested in what I'm doing. They're just going to think it's spam. So anyway, I'm so excited for you to diagnose and help suggest and fix my own aversion to email because it's so strong.
I feel like everybody has that experience in one way or the other. And then when you were talking about deleting emails, I was laughing because I think like I'm totally opposite. So Gmail will give me this notification saying you haven't read this person's emails in so and so time. Do you want to unsubscribe? And I'll be like, no. And I'm still not going to read it, but I'm just not going to unsubscribe. And I mean, I have a reason
So
for
funny.
it, but
You're an email hoarder then.
now that you put it that way, let's just say I'm a collector. I think a collector is like a better way.
Sure.
I do this thing where, so because I'm an email marketing person, periodically I just go through my inbox and read emails at random. So the ones that are interesting to me, I'll probably read them as I see them. All right, so let's come back to you. You have this 3,000 person list and you've been gathering these people from over time, but you haven't really done anything for them. Is there a particular reason why? Is there maybe something you're afraid of or something like, I mean, I know you talked about like the email aversion, like your own, the way you treat emails. But aside that, do you think there's something else that's stopping you from sending an email to those people?
I think one of the things that stops me is the amount of like time and effort it takes to put together a worthwhile newsletter. It's, making sure that you have all the right links, it's adding the right information. And I put out a lot of content, right? I've got the podcast, I've got a blog writer, I've got projects that we're running all the time. It's also a thing of by the time I've already shared about the project, I just assume everyone has seen it already. So the like redundancy of then emailing people to be like, did you see this thing that we made? Like it feels silly, like super promotional. I want the emails to be useful. Like if I'm going to email someone and have it hit their inbox, I don't want it to just be fluff. And so I take that very seriously of like creating a lot of value, but creating that much value takes a lot of time. So that's been the newsletter front of it. For email blasts, it's a little tricky too because my service is a high ticket offer, right? People are investing 7, 12, 20, 40, $50,000 into their brand. That's not a here buy this thing off one email. Like it has to be a longer sales cycle. Like sometimes we're in contract negotiations for 6 to 8 months. So it's hard for me to figure out the right tone to keep that type of person engaged, knowing that it's at this type of price point, if that makes sense. Because I don't just have like a here's your $27 offer. I'm not slinging stuff like that. I'm slinging, really close working relationships and big undertakings and huge rebrands. And to me, email marketing, and again, this is probably my own bias, is much more catered to here's this quick thing you can buy today. But tell me I'm wrong.
Okay. How do people join your email today? Like, how do they get on your list today?
Right now, it's just subscribe to the newsletter in the footer. Like sometimes we will embed it in our blog or in different spots in the website, but it's primarily through the website subscribe box.
And are people joining?
Not as much as when I gave all those free giveaways. So again, imagine like I've built an entire list. Like I used to curate and take like iPhone stock photography. So I'd say, here's a collection of 40 iPhone photos for Halloween. And I would create that as an asset. And then people would go to download them. They had to put in their email. So a lot of the email lists that I built are not qualified leads for the service that I now have. So maybe that's my bigger problem is maybe my list isn't catered to the type of business I now have. And so that there's a certain amount of guilt in like trying to hit up people that got stuff from me for free to be like, oh, by the way, we're now doing projects that are $30,000. It's just like, that's a huge jump. And maybe the person that was coming for free resources wasn't ever going to convert to that anyway.
Well, that's fine. So one more question before I share my thoughts with you. What do you think would make email feel different for you?
I think getting help, that's the first thing. I've got some of my team members have been like, oh, I'm interested in helping with that. Like, I would love to be the person that just approves stuff and isn't coming up with the idea because it's just, again, it's not my world. I'm so much better at that with TikTok and Instagram and print design and merchandise that it would be so great to have someone like lay out the strategy. And also something I need a lot of help with is someone who can break down the analytics and help me like pull those lists into subsections. Like I would love to know the people that were really just there because they got the free resource to put them in one bucket and then put the people that were interested in the project that we had but weren't ready to move forward at this time in a different bucket because I think those are two audiences with two different messages. And right now everyone's just on one master list. So I think better organization and better strategy would make email marketing way more approachable.
Yeah, definitely. So let me share my thoughts with you. And I think the first thing is something that you said when you said that, email is so hidden, unlike TikTok, Instagram, where everything is public. I think that that's in itself is also blessing, just very personal and more intimate. Instagram and TikTok is like the front end and email is like, let's go behind the scenes. So people are coming in from Instagram and TikTok and now they're looking for more. Now, I totally understand what you mean when you say the people who come in, because I've also experienced it. I mean, the last guest that I interviewed for the podcast, we haven't published yet, literally shared how after having like a ton of freebie stickers that she made her email list gated. So the only way you can join it is if you pay for something or pay to join. Like she is literally done with freebie stickers. That's how like she had it up to there kind of thing. And so it's something that I understand. Now you already have like such an interesting system. And I feel like for you, those people that are coming in, some may not be ready to buy. But the way that they come in, you're ensuring that you're already getting people who are interested in design. So you know how you have like the case studies and you do like the long 1 hour podcast? Now, what if you take us behind the scenes of how that project was for you? Right. So we've heard from the client
Yeah.
side, and now we want to hear your own behind the scenes. And then you want to show us maybe some extras that weren't on the main podcast. Okay. And then it's like, then you can then link it to the main podcast, which is a marketing tool for you. So
Yeah.
somebody is seeing this case study, but now it's more personal because they're going behind the scenes of how it happened, not just hearing the client's experience. So I remember there was a time I did this thing on my stories where I was like, oh, I'm working on this client's project. So this is just me sharing what I'm doing as I'm working on the client's project. And I realized that people like to hear all those in the process stories or how the process went or what
Sure.
I would do differently. Right. So I think coming from that behind the scenes angle and then fine tune what it is you're doing in terms of the quality of people. Because people who want to sit behind the scenes are two sets of people. Those who are designers like you and who are curious about what other people are designing, and then those who are looking for somebody and they're like, what's this person's process like? And they want to know if it's something that aligns with them or not. So I think that's
Mhm.
one way. And then for the people who were on the list, the 3,000 people, you can begin to segment them by sending emails that gets them. So today I did something on my list. So I recently started promotion for like my mentorship program. And so all I did was I'm sending the email to the main list, but I want to start picking out those people that are interested in the mentorship program. So I'm creating an interest list. I literally called it EMM interest list. So it's not the wait list, but it's just all the people who have clicked on it, which shows that they are interested. So I have that interest list, which already tells me that these people are interested. And then the next step would be, are they ready to buy now or later? Right. And I think that that's something that you can also do with emails. So there's something you said again where you mentioned that you just want to be the person approving and you have so many things to say and it's like, how do you bring everything together? I think that that's such a good
Mhm.
problem because people are usually in the parties like, what do I say? I don't know what to write. I'm not sure what to communicate. So you have a really good problem, in my opinion. And so I think that the newsletter style will work really well because you can do a custom menu that links to all these things you have to say because I already believe that some of them may be like podcast, some of them may be like blog posts, right? Your main newsletter can have like
Mhm.
the main content and then it has like that menu that links to all those other things. Okay, so people can come in and they're like, oh, here's the menu for today. So you know how you make people have like brag-worthy experiences and brands? So you just decide what kind of experience you want. So now I'm saying menu because in my head it's like you come into a restaurant and it's like, here's the menu for the day. I know that there's some restaurants that literally change
Mhm.
their menu with seasons and things like that. So it's like, here's the menu for today. So you just decide on the experience. But in terms of what to say, the newsletters, I think coming from the behind the scenes perspective and then give you different things to write about in terms of attracting the people that you want. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think I would have more higher converting messaging if my list was segmented and organized in that way, for sure, because it is a different angle and there's different offer. So I create so much free content, like so much between the podcast, the YouTube channel, the socials. I have a Facebook group. There's a lot to share and I know we're not reaching our full potential with that either. To know like that there is an interest list specific to the services that we offer would be huge because then I could give real case study examples specifically to the people that are interested in each of those services and say like, hey, here's someone who had the same problem as you. Here's how we solved it. And that's a very compelling conversion. And then I could also share things with them about our process and how it works, or frequently asked questions, or, myth busting stuff, truth or myth kind of situation. There's a lot more. My brain can already spin off in that way. I think, again, my problem is I gave a bunch of free tickets to the show and I just put everyone who wanted a free ticket in the same stadium. And I didn't really think about maybe if there were breakout rooms, they'd get more value, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, sometimes we all start there, but as we understand our people better, it becomes easier to break them down. So using myself as an example, I used to have, now I'm trying to make them like different, like one offer or one lead magnet, so to say, or maybe two per time.
Mhm.
And then I realized that when I started adding in like segmentation forms, it was more of a survey form actually. So I wanted to just have an idea of the kind of people that were signing up. And I realized, oh, some people were freelancers. So I put it email list managers, email list owners, and both. And then I had more email list managers, which was what I was expecting. But I now saw that I had a number of people who were both. And I realized that also these people didn't just want to offer it as a service. They wanted to start their own email list and needed help in that direction. So they were not the vast majority of my audience, but understanding
Mhm.
that I had those kind of people
Mhm.
would also let me know, okay, if I'm doing this kind of thing, these are some of the people that would be interested in it, and then just carrying that information forward. And when you mention data, that's something that I totally love because I always tell like the people that I work with, I'm like, so we're trying out like our beta membership and we had this analytics sheet we did for them. And I'm like, this is not the usual analytics you do where you just look at your numbers and leave it there. Then we begin to break down the things that have worked. So we have how we categorize it in terms of the ones that are getting people to click, the ones that are getting people to open, which show that there's a level of interest. And then we begin to look at it like, what's their formula behind this? And when I say formula, I don't want people to think like too far, right? So when we look at the email, like what makes up this subject line? Is it like curiosity plus personalization? So you just pick like one word you can use to describe it. And then we begin to check if there are patterns. And then we want to say, oh, if there are patterns, then let's do more of this pattern. And then we can decide to make a twist on it, right? So just by looking at the data, so you can actually start by creating an email series, right? And with that email series, the goal is for you to get data and then begin to test out your segmentation. But before you do that, you need to decide what are the segments that I want to break these people in based on like maybe their identity, based on so who they are or what they want, right? Based on what they are interested in. So it could be like looking at your service, or maybe some like done for you, done with you, that kind of thing. So you might want to look at it
Mhm.
from that angle. Okay. And then deciding on the segments. I don't want to make it too many initially, actually, because when you make it too many, later on it will now be, oh, so should I message only some people and not some people? Like, so I like when, make it simple, start small. So if you can pick like two to three, and then with your call to actions, you begin to
Mhm.
look at the people that are responding more to certain things, and you have your back end automation doing that cementing for you. So we had someone come on the show or the podcast actually. Adi talked about lead filtering. So it might require a bit of writing down a
Right.
strategy before you now start implementing. But by the time you finish like the 13th phase, it will give you the information you need to go forward. And then I hope the allergies will go away. So that will be my
It makes a lot of
prescription.
sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right? I love it.
Definitely, definitely. You're welcome. You're welcome. Moving forward, right? I really love how it is that I feel like sometimes the way we react to emails actually helps us do better emails. So the things that you react to can actually help with the way you do email so that you don't repel it and feel like, I mean, I delete emails so other people might delete it. So you mentioned that there are emails you receive and you delete, but there are also emails that you read, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly. So what would you say would make you open an email in the first place?
The newsletters and the emails that I like to open are the ones that I feel I'm gonna get good summarized value from. So there's a creator that I follow who is really talented with AI, for example, and she's always sharing almost like news that's happening within AI, and she's linking. Like the whole email is basically like, here's what you missed this week that happened with AI. And that's so useful to me that it's all in one place. Because even if I haven't opened her email, I know that if I have extra time, like you're saying, I can go find that email and I know there's going to be value for me in it because it's so link rich. And I really like those kinds of emails because it just does all of the mental load of organizing all the information. And as someone who does spend a lot of time online and does spend a lot of time on social media, I'll see stuff and save it, save it, save it. I won't remember to go into my saved folders and or look back at my screenshots, right? So the fact that she has this niche expertise and she's organizing information that's not even what she's publishing, but she's organizing information for someone like myself who happens to use AI a lot. It's really useful because there's so much work that's gone into like curating all of that together. So I really enjoy her emails a lot. That's Claire Zhu. She's been on my podcast before. Her brand is called Moodalier, and it's fabulous. She does a really great job. I think the other emails that I open, because I'm in email for work too, it just doesn't feel like a social platform to me. I think that's maybe my problem. I feel like I have a work brain and then I have a social media brain and they're crossover. But when I'm recreationally like scrolling around, I'm never going through my email and with that attitude. Like email is where the work stuff, the like technical stuff lives.
Now I totally get it. When you're doing emails, it's like work stuff. Well, we need start from somewhere. So from what you just said, I picked two things. Interest. You're interested in AI and you use it a lot. And she has done something for you. So what kind of emails do you personally enjoy reading?
I think it really depends. I think it's kind of as far as my enjoyment, like what I enjoy the most, it's short form video, long form video, podcast, posts, text posts, and then email.
Only brands will stop doing in their emails.
I wish brands would stop sending so many emails. I think there's a lot of brands. Maybe this is against your whole business. Maybe you can convince me otherwise. But I swear there are brands that I love their product and I use their services and they send an email every 2 days. And it's too much. And I don't want them. And I delete them and I unsubscribe because I don't want an email. The other thing is, what's the point of sending an email that's basically just one graphic and one call to action? I can see this on Instagram. This didn't do anything more for me than I could have seen on social media. It's now just clogging up my email inbox. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not getting anything proprietary out of these brand emails. I think that's my problem. Is like, if I'm going to spend the time to send email marketing and email people, I want them to get something that they haven't gotten from anywhere else, or that it's such a well curated, well thought out summary of everything that's happened that it's then valuable. What I can't stand is the like, you're basically just sending an advertisement. That drives me nuts. That's not editorial content. That's not interesting. That's not engaging to me. That just feels like, if there's literally 2 lines of text and a button with a giant image that's a moving GIF of a shopping bag, I don't want that personally. But maybe you can tell me I'm wrong. I'm so willing to be wrong.
Actually, initially, when people ask me how many emails should I send in a week, I'll say send 2 to 3 emails, but start at 2. Reason being that we want people to stay memorable, in the sense that instead of just sending one email and then to next week, memorable. But I've also seen that beyond the quantity is the consistency. So if there's a pattern to it, whether it's 2 in a week, 3 in a week, or 1 every week that goes out on the same day around the same time, that consistency also helps you stay memorable, right? Which is still what we are trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second thing is people are interested in patterns and styles. So if there's something they can associate with your email, then, for example, she gives you summary. That's what you associate with her email. Now, there are brands that believe in the daily emails, and there are brands that will post the daily emails, and it will always be a battle. So what I usually would say is you send as many emails as you need to send to achieve what you want to do. And you want to do what you can comfortably do. Because if I tell somebody that is averse to email to send 5 emails a week, when I get around to it, if I read it, fine. I'm like, oh, this person sent me an email. What person talking about? So you're sending me emails every day. But because I find what you share valuable, a lot of times those people usually talk from their experience. So I know that your experience is valuable to me because you really have skin in the game. And so I'm not going to unsubscribe, but I know that I won't read every single email, right? So when it comes to the number of emails, the other thing we now do, which I think is good, is to give people options. It shows that
Sure.
you are thoughtful. So when software allow you to subscribe settings, I personally don't have it because from my sign up, I tell people that I send emails. How do I say write that thing? I used to tell them that I send a lot of emails at least 3 times a week. So when you're signing up, it's right there spelled out for you. You can give them options. How often do you want to receive our emails? And then that helps you. So those who don't mind get all the emails because people usually subscribe to people's lists for different things. And those who mind pick what works for them. So that way, it's like everybody's sorted. You're happy. They're happy. You have peace of mind. I'm not getting angry and feeling like, yes, spam. But yes, I totally get it. You sending a lot of emails. I think everything boils down to understanding your audience. So if you have a lot of people who don't like to receive a lot of emails, you may be able to train some of them to receive more emails, but it will be easier to create in such a way that it's in line with their already existing personality. So the resistance is less.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
So definitely. So what's one piece of advice? So I know that we started this, we're talking about why you're allergic to email marketing and the challenges you face that make you think twice.
Yeah, I think if I could snap my fingers and fix my biggest email marketing problem, it's segmentation. It's knowing that just collecting someone's email is not enough, right? Just giving them the free ticket is not enough. It's putting them in the right bucket so that you know how you can help them the most. Because helping everybody generally isn't really helping people specifically. So if I had someone who could go through my email list and put them into segments that I knew how to talk to each room of people, that would be huge for me. Because I think it's this idea of like growing your brand, right? Like I'm going to have all these subscribers. Like subscribers don't mean anything if you have a terrible open rate and terrible conversion, because then they're just sitting in an email box somewhere, right? So it's just like followers on social media. Like it doesn't mean anything if you have 100,000 followers if nobody interacts with your posts. Then those people aren't the people. That's not an impressive metric anymore, right? So I think I fell really victim in the beginning to, oh, grow your list, grow your list, grow your list, grow your list, but serve your list. Don't just grow it and then like leave it to die, which is what I did. So I think this conversation definitely has me inspired to kind of get back to it and be smarter about it so that we're not spinning our wheels and getting nowhere.
Okay. How are you serving them? I really like that choice of word. And I think that that's something we should all go forward with. So beyond growing our list, how are we serving our list? And that's so important. And so before we begin to wrap up, I would just share with you. So before now, there's so many segmentation styles. I won't bore you with all the different ones, but I think that in terms of segmentation, I used to like to lean towards behavior and psychographics. And then recently, one of the people who I respect broke it into 4 key segments, which I think everybody will benefit from. So this is not my own classification. I got this from Chris Ozichalski, but I think it will be so useful to everybody. So the first one, he called it the identity segments, which a number of us already do without even knowing it. So it's who they are. So you're grouping based on their business model or their role. And so at a point, one thing I did was, if you like to know when the next email marketing mentorship opens up, something like that, like join the waitlist. So it's just there in the welcome sequence so that if that's what you're looking for, it's just there for you. Then it now becomes if it's timely. So the third one is timeline segments when they need it. So it now becomes if it's timely. Do they need it now or do they need it later? And how will you follow up those that need it now? And then the last segment is the exclusionary segment. And I found the segment particularly funny because it's like who to avoid. And this is the people you want to stop selling to so you don't sell to the wrong people, right? So sometimes you have a certain group of people on your list and maybe they are not interested in like the main thing that you're doing. So it's like you want to exclude these people. So maybe you may not send them everything, but you might send them one or two that are just specific to them, right? And so this was something that he shared that I feel like would be really useful to all of us. And I will definitely share the link with you as well, as you rework your email strategy and just look into all of that, right? Yeah. So that's it. That's it. This has been
Love it.
such an interesting conversation. I want to say thank you for being so open and, so honest to share the behind the things with us. So we've talked about your podcast, but I want to know, how can people find you? How can they connect with you? How can people see what it is that you do?
Absolutely. So, podcast is a great place to start. The podcast is called Kiss My Aesthetic. We are on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on everywhere that you listen to podcasts. And if you subscribe to our newsletter, eventually you'll get updates of when new episodes go live. But we drop episodes every Tuesday. And there's a collection of client case studies, solo episodes, expert interviews, lots of good stuff there. There's over 240 episodes, so there's plenty of entertainment to be had on that front. For our work, if you need help with branding, marketing, merchandise, social media, packaging design, event activation, that's all going to be on mkwcreative.co, not .com.co. So MKW Creative Co. And we are also the same handle on all social platforms. So at mkwcreative.co. My profile picture is yellow. I'm usually wearing yellow. I'm not wearing yellow today, but I usually wear yellow. You'll see that big, bright yellow color. So that's how you know it's us.
I mean, talk about the brand design company. So this is totally off the topic, but I remember reading somebody talking about personal branding, and then the person says in the level 2, the person goes like style, and I know it was style and something else, but basically the person was saying like the things that people associate with you, repeating it, so it becomes a pattern. So it's like when people see yellow, for example, it's like, or when they see a particular style. So just repeating those patterns. And so as she just said this, I just remembered it because that's something I should find the color.
Absolutely.
There's yellow in your background though.
That's true. That's true. It's kind of yellow green. But I recorded a podcast episode called Styled to Lead, which is about connecting your thought leadership to your aesthetic authority. So what the way that you communicate and what you say has to be linked to how you present yourself visually. So that's with style, pattern, color, etc. I am wearing, if you're watching the video version of this is one of the logos that I've designed. So I'm wearing my own work. So there's that. This is for one of the golf brands that we work with. But yeah, it's definitely a topic I'm interested in. I'll be part of a summit coming up in February. That's going to be a free conference. And my speaking topic is about aesthetic leadership, like connecting your thought leadership to a style so that people can start to associate those things with each other. It's definitely a topic that I think as more founder-led brands become popular, it's really important for founders to have consistent aesthetics.
Wow. Well, we'll definitely get the links for both the podcast episode and the conference and add them to the show notes. So this episode, okay, so I won't let you know. I'll keep it a secret, but just know that all the links would be there in the show notes. So I think what I was going to say was this episode is going to be our first guest episode for the new year. So this is our new year episode.
Cool.
And so because it's going to be our new year episode, well, I'm going to get all the links from Michelle, all the links, because I'm sure that you will benefit from each and every one, from the conference to her episode about, I'm even going to go look for it even before I get the number from her. But I'm definitely sure that you will find it useful. Even if you're just starting out, you might as well start building your style and, all of those things early on, now that you have the information. So this has been so good. This has been so good. Thank you so much. Any final words before we go?
Thank you. No, I'm just excited. I think, like I said, I would love to come back on your podcast in a few months from now after we have our email strategy more ironed out. And maybe we can do a part 2 and kind of recap the difference and see if I feel any differently about it. I think I already feel differently. I feel better about it since having this conversation. So that's good.
I'm glad. And I will definitely put that in our calendar to plan for a part 2 after we've given you time to reach out. Thank you so much once again. It has been an absolute delight to have Michelle here with us on the podcast. Guys, all the links, I promise you, would be in the show notes. So you're not going to miss out on anything. And this is our New Year's episode. So Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, yeah. And so with that, till next time, this is still email marketing experiments. Don't forget to think it, to test it, and to share it. Okay. And of course, you should subscribe and share this with all your friends because there's a lot of good stuff in here. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hi, Dr. Safaya here. Thank you so much for listening to yet another episode of Email Marketing Experiment. I'm going to ask a favor. Please leave a rating and a comment on this podcast. It goes a long way to help increase visibility for our podcast so that we can reach even more people. Till next time, this is still Email Marketing Experiment. Think it, test it, and share it.